Hello. You may notice I'm wearing pyjamas. There is a reason for it. I'll get to that in a minute. In the last video, I spoke about why the Millwall Football Club fans were quite right to vocalise their disapproval of being used as a political sounding board by the players whose wages they pay. I'll put a link to that previous video in the description below. The mass media said it was disrespectful of them to do that, disrespectful to Black Lives Matter and disrespectful to Black Lives Matter for the fans to boo, rather. And I said that it was disrespectful to the fans for the players to start off the game by, in effect, telling them they were a bunch of little shits for being white. Even though I have to point out that many of them were not. However, to paraphrase Joe Biden, if you don't buy into the package, then you're not black. So let's talk about another sort of respect. This is in the realm of politics. A year ago, I was wearing these pyjamas and sitting up at my computer very late at night to find out the results of the British general election, because it seemed there was a chance that Britain would be electing an anti-Semitic bunch of socialist ideologues into government. My joy at being reminded that the British public really are the great British public and not such fools as the BBC said they were. And my joy was such that I actually made a video without changing into something more respectable, since no one expressed shock at me turning up in their computer screens in nightwear. I was hoping to wear that same set of pyjamas to celebrate the re-election of Donald Trump. It didn't work out that way, did it? As I've said on several occasions, I know that Trump is not the ideal man, but oh my goodness, Joe Biden, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And I've also said that the Democrats putting up a man with half a brain as a candidate for president showed a deep, an abysmal, or rather an abyssal lack of respect for the American people. I have to confess, I was flabbergasted when enough of the American people fell for it. Now, I also believe that there was a lot of cheating and fraud going on, as well as some obvious unconstitutional liberties with the voting procedure, but nevertheless, there was a substantial proportion of the American public who did vote for Biden, so it wasn't a completely unsupported coup. My hope for the future is that with the Republicans in control of most of the legislature, the Biden, or rather, we should say the Pelosi-Harris administration won't be able to do too much damage. But even at best, it means 4 years of stagnation. It won't be good for the USA and it won't be good for the rest of the world. I'm hoping it won't be quite as damaging as it could have been. So, while on the subject of respect for your supporters, I also want to draw to your attention Biden's choice of Secretary of Education. It's a person called Charlotte. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. In Britain, it might have been Clymer. But anyway, such ambiguity is probably appropriate, really. This is one photo of Charlotte Clymer, the Wikipedia photo, and this is another, which was taken under a less flattering light and less flattering camera angles, which all goes to show, of course, exactly how much the camera can beat about the bush. if you'll forgive the expression. So this is the Education Secretary who rose to the rank of corporal in the US Army before deciding that being a trans woman was politically more effective. I tried to find out if the corporal is now completely a woman or just a man in a dress. I have not succeeded in finding any information about that, so I do hope that somebody will be able to enlighten me in the comments below. Look, I have no problem at all with intersex people getting medical attention to resolve their ambiguous physical characteristics. Thank God for modern medicine is all I can say. I also have no issue with men with genuine gender dysphoria going through the set of procedures which will give them at least the outward appearance of the sex they want to be. I also have very few problems with men who dress up as women. For the purposes of theatrical entertainment, there is a long tradition in Britain of that happening. Sometimes I do have an uncomfortable feeling about it tipping into misogyny, but most of the time, no. What I do have an issue with is a man who thinks that slapping lipstick over his thin lips, plastering foundation over his stubbly chin, slinging on a short skirt and a pair of high heels, and then insisting that he is really a woman, yes, I do have an issue with that. When this corporal, dressed in such a way, tried to get into a women's lavatory and was kept out by the restaurant staff, who were only trying to protect their female customers, he started a legal action against them. Corporal punishment, as some of my more waggish subscribers might say, and those ordinary working class folk were sacked and the restaurant was fined. And Corporal Charlotte here no doubt felt a great rush of victory at their expense. My personal opinion, the restaurant staff deserve medals. But now I've gone right off the subject. Oh yes, so at present, in January, it looks like you people in the United States will have a president who isn't a president, and an education secretary in charge of your children, I must remind you, who, so far as I can tell, is a woman who isn't a woman, and a vice president who isn't really a vice president because she's going to be the acting president, and unfortunately, an election that wasn't really an election. And I'm sorry that these pajamas, which started off life with such optimism, have ended up being worn at such a time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Graniopteryx design or Granbow with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.graniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.